tomorrow night.
We're going to talk about benchmarks with Pakistan tomorrow night.
I'll let the president make a little news tomorrow, but I anticipate that the president will be pretty clear about how we're moving forward with Afghanistan and Pakistan.
And how much has he talked with the officials in Pakistan ahead of tomorrow's speech?
President Zardari is on the list. And will be called either. There was some scheduling flux, whether it's later today or first thing tomorrow. We'll have some clarity on that in a little.
But in coming up with what he's going to say, how much conversations took place?
Look, I think I don't remember the last time, or don't have it in front of me, the last time the president spoke directly with President Zardari. But I know that many of the national security team, Secretary of State Clinton visited not too long ago, and others have made trips to Pakistan and throughout the region to strengthen our diplomatic ties.
Can I just follow up?
Let me go get a couple here first. Yes, sir.
Thanks, Robert. How specific tomorrow will the president be about an exit strategy, and how specific will he be about costs?
Well, I think the president will reiterate tomorrow what I've said a number of times, which is that this is not an open-ended commitment. That we are there to partner with the Afghans to train the Afghan National Security Forces, the Army and the police, so that they can provide security for their country. And wage a battle against an unpopular insurgency in that country. That's, I would say, first and foremost, our primary mission there.
You said last week, I think Wednesday in the gaggle, that we wouldn't be there in 8 or 9 years. Will the president spell that out as a timetable tomorrow for when troops will leave?
I found a good job security policies, not to get too far ahead of where the president is. I think you can be assured that the president will talk about the fact that this is not an open-ended commitment.
Can you follow up on the cost question as well? Will he talk about, you've given us figures before as to what it costs per soldier. Will he talk about how it will be paid for? Does he have a position on a war tax?
Yeah,
is that something he'll discuss?
I have not heard extensive discussion of that here. I know the president will touch on cost. I don't expect to get overly detailed in the speech tomorrow. Yes, sir.
When more troops are sent into a country, inevitably it results in more casualties when a military presence and fighting is increased. Is that going to be part of the president's message tomorrow to prepare the American people for the fact that while an exit strategy exists, the next year or two is going to be perhaps bloodier than even the last 6 months?
Well, Jake, and we've discussed this before. I think the amount of sacrifice that we've seen from the men and women that we have there already is something that I know the president is assured by each and every day. I think he signs letters of condolence. He meets with the families of those that have been killed. Obviously, the trip to Dover is something that I doubt you ever truly forget. I think the president will reiterate the importance of why we're there, but also, by all means, very early on, acknowledge the tremendous cost and sacrifice to our men and women in uniform. I don't think there's any doubt that we are all in awe of the commitment from our military and our civilian side in order to get this right.
And just in terms of defining our terms, where does making sure that we have a stable Afghan partner and nation building begin? What's the line? Is it just is it just a question of our responsibility, U.S. responsibility, being training Afghan troops? That's the safe and secure part, the safe and stable partner part? Because we've heard a lot about what the U.S. intends to do, and I know you don't want to get ahead of the president's speech, but just in terms, if you could define the terms a little for us.
Well, I guess I would more ask you to. I'm unclear as to what continuum you're putting. Are you asking me to put them on a certain?
Well, the president has said about the new strategy that it's important that we have a secure or a stable ally in the Afghan government.
And a partner that is, and a partner that understands, as the president directly told President Karzai in a telephone call in the Oval Office, that it is time to turn. It's time for a new chapter in our relationship as it relates to corruption and improved governance in order to address the security situation, not just through training and security force needs, but also, look, it's hard for civilians to go in and improve areas. It's impossible that aren't secure. So I would say this is all part of what has to be a partnership. And I think anybody would tell you, Jake, that and I've said this, and I think, quite frankly, you've seen this from Democrats and Republicans in Congress, without partners that are willing to do stuff in both Afghanistan and Pakistan, no number of American troops can solve all of those problems, unless or until those steps are taken inside both of those countries. Will we see a change in the security situation?
So a stable partner means a partner that is willing to have its own troops step up.
Well,
it doesn't mean a thriving democracy. It doesn't mean a great economy. It doesn't mean schools for girls or human rights.
First and foremost, we have to have a partner that can identify, recruit, retain a security force and a police force that are able to take an improved security environment and eventually hold that area. Once that area is cleared, that area then has to be held. Ultimately, the strategy will be to transfer the security responsibility of an area to the Afghans. That is a big part of what you'll hear the president talk about tomorrow.
But that's what we want from the Afghan government.
I would say that's a big part of it, yes.
Thanks, Robert. Just want to go back to the war tax. You said the president's not likely to get into much detail on how to pay for it tomorrow night. Why not? When we're $14 trillion in debt, why don't the American people deserve some explanation?
I don't think you heard me say that they didn't deserve an explanation. Obviously, there's.
Why wouldn't he get into it?
Well, he will certainly touch on the cost. This is neither the beginning of this debate, Ed, nor will this be the end of it. I think you'll hear the president acknowledge the resource requirements and the responsibilities and the trade-offs that are going to have to be discussed both here and, more importantly, on Capitol Hill as they control the purse strings.
So how will he have those offsets? Will it be with a new tax or will it be with spending cuts?
Again, I think those discussions, once the president has a policy and can put a price tag on it, I think you'll see those more in earnest.
I wanted to ask about another subject, the state dinner last week with India.